Hi, my name is Karen Ord, and I'm from Chandler, Arizona, but I'm originally from the Bay Area. When I was 22 years old, I had my abortion. The next 2 decades, it remained a dark secret. I grew up in an abusive, alcoholic household, and it was always my dad's way or the highway. My opinions were unwelcome, and I came to believe that not only did what I have to say not matter, that I didn't matter. I got married at age 21. We had been married for a little over a year and had a 7-month-old baby girl. My husband was between jobs when I became pregnant with our second child. When I told him the news, he was furious, and he blamed me for not being more careful. He argued how in the world were we going to support another child. Then out of the blue, he insisted that I have an abortion. I was in shock and disbelief. I called my mom for support, and to my surprise, she sided with my husband. I felt rejected and abandoned. I was scared that he would follow through with his threat of leaving me and our child, so out of fear, I called and scheduled the appointment to terminate my pregnancy. I wish it would have been harder to arrange at the hospital, but because it was legal and covered under our insurance plan, I went through with it. I bought a product that was bad for me. What I thought I was getting and what I received were worlds apart. In paralyzing fear, I quarantined my conscience in order to be at peace with my husband and keep my family intact. As I emerged from this state of fear, I realized that what I had been sold was literally a dead end. The day of my abortion, my baby was not the only one that died. A part of me died too. Abortion seemed so accepted by society, but afterwards I felt so isolated and alone. My husband and I's relationship and once happy life together spiraled downwards. We numbed our pain with cigarettes, drugs, and alcohol. On the outside, I remained cool and collected. After all, nobody could know the secret that I kept buried deep inside. No one could ever know the horrible sin that kept me from being the person that I used to be. After high school, I followed a dream and I went to nursing school to be a pediatric nurse. I had worked for 2 years in hospitals and also at Stanford in the children's cancer ward. After my abortion, I quit my career as a nurse. I didn't know why at the time, but years later learned that it is not uncommon for post-abortive men and women to move away from something that subconsciously reminds them of the trauma of their abortion loss. I spent the next 22 years suffering in silence, riddled with shame, guilt, and self-hatred. There were countless nights I cried myself to sleep, longing to hold my baby. I wondered what our child would have looked like or grown up to be, and my husband and I drifted further and further apart. I wonder why these debilitating after effects were not explained to me by the staff at the hospital. I wonder why they didn't at least mention to me that such suffering might result from procuring an abortion procedure. About 12 years ago, I went to an Arizona Right to Life talk at my church with my best friend. The talk was hard to hear but inspiring, and afterwards I mustered up the courage to tell my best friend my secret. We stepped into the chapel and I told her about my abortion. I expected rejection, pity, and disgust. Instead, I received acceptance, non-judgment, and sympathetic love and support. I couldn't believe it. She hugged me and she told me that she loved me. That night, something changed in me and I started to heal. I am not alone. I have heard many stories like mine. There are millions of men, women, and teens suffering in silence who also bought the lie of abortion. Approximately 43% of all women before the age of 45 will have had an abortion. An unexpected crisis pregnancy can cause us to act out of fear and panic and end up on the wrong end of a fatal, deadly procedure. What we need is compassion. We already judge ourselves. God knows our hearts, even though so many have been hardened with denial and pain. I used to say I was pro-choice. After all, how could I say I was pro-life? I would be a hypocrite. But God kept putting people in my path to help me stand up for what I truly believed in my heart. God has given me my voice back. Life is precious, and all lives are precious at every stage. Love and respect will win over hatred and judgment. For everyone who is suffering in silence, know that there is hope and healing available, and that you are loved. Because you never know who is suffering in silence, it could just be your best friend. If you or someone you know has been touched by abortion, there is a beautiful healing retreat available called Rachel's Vineyard. It has helped me to forgive myself for my part in ending my child's life, and also to forgive my husband for not supporting us. We named our son Matthew, and he is now recognized as a beloved child of God. We also have 3 adult children and 8 grandchildren, 2 of which are in heaven. Abortion touches all families in some way. I believe that someday I will be reunited with Matthew, and this gives me great hope. I will no longer keep him a secret. Society says men and women suffer no negative psychological effects after abortion. I know differently. That's why I'm telling my story, and I am silent no more.